Yo, what is going on, guys? Godrekton here today, bringing you a new video series. So, I was kind of inspired by a commenter, actually, on my recent community posts, and if you guys don't know, I've started to try and be more active in my community, as I've been very bad at that, among the years, so I've started using community posts. I also have a Discord too, if you want to join that. The link will be on the screen right now, if you guys do want to join that. But that aside as well, I had a commenter with the name Jacob who asked me a very important question, actually. So his comment was, so every gameplay that I've watched so far, I've only showed wins on my channel. Now, I think wins are very good, of course, and I mean, who doesn't like a win, right? People want to see, they want to see how to win, they want to replicate what I do, and I think that's very reasonable, right? But as a channel that wants to do a lot of educational stuff, I think it's also very important to note, how do we lose a game? Because if you don't know how you lose a game, then how are you supposed to win a game, really? Because just like in life, if you don't know the things that are potentially a risk to you, then how are you sure, like, on what you're exactly trying to do, right? So to be sure as possible, you need to weigh both things into one. So if our goal is a victory, we must also know how we lose. If we know how we lose, then we can prevent some scenarios from happening, certain things that, you know, we can prepare for as well. And this is kind of like the point of this video series that I want to make. So the whole idea of this is that I want to go over my mistakes. I want to teach you guys something in the process. And, you know, I just want to go from there, right? Because, again, I think I will upload a lot of my gameplays to be very educational based in the way that how I win. However, I do want a series too where it does go over things like these, like this game right here. This game, I played nearly the perfect game. This game was completely on my shoulders to win. My team was tremendously bad, let's just say, in a lot of areas. We came back in various ways too. I don't want to go over everything because I feel like it's a little bit irrelevant, because overall, the main mistake that I made on this near perfect game is the actual ending. And I think a lot of you guys can actually learn from this clip alone. And there's also some other little mistakes too. Maybe I'll briefly go over them. But for the purpose of this video, I actually want to go into a late game team fight. So as a lot of you guys know, late game is one of the scariest points for an Godrekton main. However, my opinion of late game is probably a lot different from most people, because I feel like the whole late game thing is more or less a stereotype. Godrekton in the past was stereotyped to be bad only because he didn't have a build to really play. If you ever played full AD within the years before Mythics, full AD was always prevalent within a game. No matter if it was early to late game, you're always able to one-shot someone. And when you have a factor like that, you're always able to do something, right? It's like, take for example as well, I like fighting analogies a lot. So imagine a guy that hits really hard, you know, like imagine a Francis Ngannou, right? You know, if you guys are MMA heads out there, you know, this is to you as well. So like, imagine Francis Ngannou, right? You can go 5 rounds with this guy, but it only takes 1 hit. And, you know, the guy whoever's trying to beat him could lose a fight completely. And that's how it can really go in a game like this too. I could make every mistake of a one, but if I get that perfect, you know, fight to go in, then the game's over. And that's just what it's about sometimes. But the thing is, we never need to be in that position in the first place if we're losing. And same with this analogy I'm using. Like, maybe if he fought better, you know, Francis Ngannou, maybe the fight wouldn't be so one-sided until he knocked him out. And that's where there's always things you can improve, no matter how you get the victory. Victory is always good, but it's always important to learn how to also perform on that. Same thing with losses too. If we could do it for victories, why not do it on the losses? Losses are a really big learning curve for a lot of players. If you can learn from a loss, that's what allows you to grow, and that's what also allows you to become the better player that you can be. And everyone is capable of that. It took me a lot of years to figure this out. And I feel like now that I'm like, you know, 10 years into my, you know, League of Legends stuff, I'm nearly 10 years within a few months. I think it's just very important to address a lot of these things that I've learned for you guys. Like, to you guys, I mean, like, so I'm going to be doing a better job of that. But anyways, let's explain the game a little bit more. So this game, I was being carried essentially from the itemization too. And maybe I'll make another video like this, but essentially my items helped me, you know, get out like a terrible point in the game where I was losing our base. I bought healing reduction. I started countering the Udyr that had this giant amount of armor the whole game. Like, he's just running around with 400 armor basically when he W's or has Jack show up rather. So he has all this armor. I started itemization again. Itemization. I can't speak right now. It's pretty late too. itemizing against that. And also, as well as everyone else in the game too, like I had Borg, I had Eclipse. Eclipse was for the lane. Eclipse was solid choice here. I'll probably have some clips on my YouTube too, where I'm like doing 1v3s and stuff with this within this game because it was on stream. But yeah, I was doing a lot. And also the Force of Nature helped against the Cannon win con as well. So, how did I lose this near perfect game? How did this happen? Well, let me just go into this scenario. So, if I get timers up right now, just to give you guys, the narrative. Dragon's about to spawn in 30 seconds. Iron Nib is down. It's a very close fight. It takes one team fight. One potential team fight, and we can completely end this game and turn the momentum in our favor. Currently, we've been winning every fight up until this end point. Every fight was going well. I was playing it perfectly. Near enough. Always doing what I needed to do. I cancel out the win condition, which is the cannon. Like, in a game like this too, it's really important to assess what are the threats. And I think the very first point I want to get into before I show the fight is threat assessment. Threat assessment is a way we can determine who is the strongest opponent on the enemy team. So, what are our threats here? What do we have to look out for? So, within this game, we have, Poppy. Let's start from top to bottom. Poppy, obviously, her threat assessment, for us, is that she can ult us away from a fight, she can stun us into a wall, she can cancel our E with her W. There's a lot to look out for there, but it's also not impossible either. There's a lot of things we can do to bait this out, or even wait for in a fight before we get to, do our things. Next thing is Udyr. He has a stun. I mean, at this point in the game, he's not going to get any stronger. However, he is a big annoyance to our bot lane. He can melt people with his build, really broken champion. However, he's not the main problem here. He's more of just like he just runs around and does whatever he wants, If I could protect my team from him, ultimately that helps. And I do have the build to completely negate him from the game as well. Next, we have Kennen. Kennen is by far the scariest in the game due to his insane teamfighting presence. If he can get that ult off in a fight, it's completely over. And I don't know if you guys ever watched Worlds. I don't know what year it was, but I believe it was down one. I think it was Naguri. And there was also a player called Smeb as well. I forgot what team he played for. Maybe Coup Tigers back in the day. I don't know if there was another name for them as well. I really forgot. But their cannons were insane. Like, they would flank, like TP flank, come behind, get an ult, and just get a quadra kill and win the game. Like, that's how scary cannon is. And I remember these situations. So, in these fights, we have to position very carefully. We need to know where cannon is at all times, and we need to just be very wary of what he can do. Next, we have Samira. Samira was a very weak point in that game. Samira wasn't really doing anything. Obviously, what I look out for here is her ultimate. All I need to do is W her when she ults, and practically, she's countered. She can't really do anything else. But this stage in the game, she does have some damage. However, she's not the main threat. Next, and finally last as well, we have an Amumu. Amumu in this game is 117-16. However, he should not be underestimated, because all he needs to do is press R. If Amumu can press R in a team fight with a cannon in his comp, it is practically game over. And I think this is where, I think you guys can kind of understand now what might happen within this game. But I'll let it play out now, and I'll tell you guys specifically what happened for us to lose the game. I'll let it play out first. So, we have 20 seconds here. We're all just having a little dance here, aimlessly with no thought at all. I get ulted away. I'm just far away from my team here. Unfortunately, I can't really do anything else. I focus wrong target here. Not really worth. And just like that, I lose the game. So, how and why did I lose the game here? Why was it my fault that I lost the game? So, I'm told that I shouldn't be harsh on myself. I want to take accountability for this, because being that I'm the one that's also keeping us in the game, like I'm being a leader with my shot calls, I'm doing the right things. It's also my authority here to tell my team what to do. A lot of people just kind of let things play out, and at the end of the day, they're just like, my team did this, they did that, I can't believe they did. But the thing is, if everyone's on the same page and they're trying to win, you could control these fights. You can control the game like an RTS game. Like here, all I had to do was, maybe I should have communicated, guys, be careful of Mumu are. Like, obviously we already know this on our head, but at the same time, it's like, we need to know the situation here. Like, we have to be careful of Amumu, Kennen. These are the two main win conditions. And if we're in a bad position, like if we're all grouped up like we were, if we just like zoom in, like look, we're all just stacked here. A perfect flash ult engage. Perfect flash ult engage. If Kennen was any closer, we would also be dead as well. Yeah, this alone, me positioning like this, just aimlessly waiting in a corner as well, just set up Poppy to ult me from the fight. And the reason this all happened too in the first place was that I wasn't even thinking of this at the time. After a perfect game nearly, I completely tunneled here, and then I got ulted out, and the consequences of this were, you know, as follows, right? Like, imagine if I'm in the fight. If anyone else got ulted, that's fine. If I'm in the fight here, I can at least get multiple kills with my build. I would have a lot of fury, I might ignite. My build is, like, insane. I mean, just look at the damage I was trying to deal here. Like, I would have killed him if I stayed longer. I had Zed coming in. Zed could have distracted. Like, we just played it really awkwardly here. Like, for a dragon fight, we had to assess the threats. And we didn't do that. And because I didn't assess the threats here, it ultimately lost the game. Now, again, maybe I shouldn't blame myself for all this, but what we could do differently is certainly that, you know, at this point, we wait back, we wait for Zed to get the flank around, because look at Zed here. Look what he wanted to do. He sees this, and like we're just walking up, you know. And me being here and this close, like, I don't know. I think the way we wanted to fight it is, like, we all wanted to be in a better position here. And just because we ignored what a Mumu can do, we ultimately lose the game. And Poppy just keeps pressing... No, she just presses R on me. And this wasn't the only mistake, really. However, it is a pretty important thing to note that positioning can win a game. If you fail to position, the game is practically over just because of that, you know? Like... I don't know, like, it's really unfortunate to watch at this stage of the game, but at the same time, this just goes to show that I am at fault for this too. I did fail to, you know, misposition here, and throw my perfect game away. However, something I do want to go over to is actually just what else happened here. What else happened here as well, which negatively impacted the game as well, was certainly Poppy as well. I completely ignored Poppy a lot of points in this game, actually, towards the end. She would constantly ult me away, and I failed to realize that this is the problem. Now, Poppy ult just looks like a reposition, right? But the thing is, if I'm not there in these fights, the game is over. Like, I have to be here. And because I wasn't here, because I positioned poorly, and didn't, like, consider any of this, it ended up just being terrible. Like, imagine if I did position differently here, as well. Look where I am compared to everyone else. I shouldn't be walking in a line like this, you know. I just walk forward, like, I don't know, it just wasn't clean for me. If I was at least here on the ult, Poppy would just, like, knock us all away. And that would be huge because we're all alive, but the fact that, like, I walk in a really weird angle, which you could call unlucky, but still, it's also the fact that I just didn't consider this. That it is a mistake, and it's a real mistake that a lot of people actually forget. It's just positioning in fights. And let me show you another example, actually. Because this wasn't the only time that this happened. So, I'm going to go back over here. I believe it was over here. Or maybe it wasn't over here. Forgive me, I'm just trying to find the exact fight. It's here. So this is a bit of a separate mistake, but I'm just going to go over it anyways. The enemy is on Baron right now, and what are we doing? We see them attacking it, and what do? We decide to chase the Udyr, like, out of... I don't even know. It's just stupid stuff. So they're on Baron at this time. We're wasting our time here. Like, I should be having the authority to ping that Baron is the more important call. Udyr doesn't matter at this point. He's completely useless at this point. In terms of, like, doing this, you know? Like, if we were just here in the first place while Udyr is running this way, we can get the jump on them and actually end up killing them. So this was a really big mistake too, which ended up stalling the game out, and it also allowed the enemy to get the Baron, which again is another mistake that I want to cover. And again, it's also a positioning thing, like a macro thing. We position over here when they're taking Baron, and this stalls everything out. They all get into the positions they need to be. Now, they don't have the jungle at least, but we kill him. We still waste some time. We do get the kill, though. Now, we do see them here, but as I was talking about with the Poppy, I completely ignored Poppy. I just tunneled. I walked in. She flashes. And we all die. Oh, yeah, I don't think they get Baron here, actually. I think... What do they? Okay, they do get Baron. But, as I said, right, like, my mistake... Like, no matter if I played good, my death here was really, like, bad. My last two, like, deaths, really. I mean, let's just say last death in my position in the previous fight. Like, this was huge. A lot of people have scores like this and lose games. And they're always like, oh, it's my teams. They did this, this, and that. But, like, there's always a player like this that happens. Like, and it's so real. Like, they walk up like this. They don't consider the threat assessment within the fight. And then they die. Like, this is basically the thing I'm trying to teach you. It's trying to be mindful at all times. Don't turn your brain off in situations like this. Like, you have to think every team fight within the mid to late game. Like, what your intentions are and what the enemy's intentions are. Like, if we go back... What should I be thinking? So we do waste the time, but we do get the Udyr. They don't get the Baron from it, luckily. But what's next? Kennen's alive. Amumu's alive. Like, they have ults, I think. I think it's just bugged. Yeah, it's bugged. But, like, they have everything. We have Fog of War here. Like, it's like, why am I walking up here? And this is something you need to tell yourself, too. It's like, okay, we see this. We have a numbers advantage right now. It's 5v4. If we don't just walk up, and especially me being the fed person... then surely we can just win, right? Like, we're going to be prepared for the Kennen, the Amumu engage. Like, as long as I can, you know, flash W, like, in a Kennen as well. Like, it's really big for me. Or just, like, at least prep my W for it. Instead, everyone's behind me, like, posturing back. I'm walking in against a Poppy. She bonks me into the wall. Kennen comes out the bush. Very obvious thing they do. They always sit in bush, then come out, flash ult. Like, if I wasn't stunned here, Kennen wouldn't go for the play. And if he did just jump on me, I can just end up one-shotting. The only reason I took all this damage anyways was the fact that Samira's doing all the damage, Poppy as well, Kennen damage. It's just everything going on here. And if I did stay alive, I'm sure we could just even, you know, maybe win as well. Because Zed was still strong. He was still doing things. Diana was around. Her ult was about to come up with Flash. She had Zonya's too. Like, this is just, like, hindsight stuff, right? But it's still important to note that, even if I'm looking at it too closely, that positioning matters a lot. And positioning really is what lost me the game. And the fact that I just didn't threat assess. So I guess we could say, like, the moral of the story here is that your mistakes matter. No matter if you have the most perfect game, if you make one mistake within the game as a top lane or as a solo carry, you are at fault for that. So... yeah, this is probably all I want to say for this game. I don't really want to go too deep onto this. I mean, there's some other things, but more so, this was like the thing that really stuck out to me. It was just positioning, because other than that, my positioning was really good. It was just the fact that I kind of tunneled, which I guess is a real thing that can happen to people. However, I just didn't think. And I think you need to make a mental check note at times, where it's like, okay, what do I do now? Like, even if it... you know, it even might help just writing, like, a little checklist. Like, you know, if you have, like, another monitor or, like, a phone or something, like, just pull it out. Have a little checklist. Maybe it's a bit too try-hard. But just, like, think of these things. Like, what is the threat here? How do I lose the game? We lose the game from bad positioning. We let the enemy play their comp. The enemy played their comp in both situations. Kennen got to, you know, use ult, like, Poppy set up a kill, Amumu set kills up. Like, these champions let Kennen do this. And we knew... if you look at this from a, like, you know, from what it is score-wise, you know Kennen's the strongest here. Udyr doesn't really matter at this point in the game, no matter the score. But still, like, it's a really big factor on why we lost the game. So overall, that's all I basically want to teach. So, moral of the story is, think about what you're doing before you go in, and try to, like, have control and know what you should do differently. Like, here, we just wait. We position differently, too. Like, we don't just stand around waiting for something to happen, because anyone could just flash ult, you know? Like, Kennen could flash ult, Amumu could flash ult, and he did flash ult. So it's just getting a better position here, like looking for a better like opportunity to flank as well. Maybe for myself as a top laner. Maybe I should have like hid somewhere. Maybe on the left side as well. But I can still get poppy ulted. There's always that factor as well, no matter what. But overall, I think these situations is really what lost the game. It's really what broke the camel's back, you could say. Even after all the stuff we do afterwards, like, it just doesn't matter. And I think for a lot of Renekton players too, they fall into a very similar thing. And I'll try and show this more in other examples too. As for this game, I think these kind of taught me a lot of lessons about how I should be thinking about the game. Because I've only started, like, playing again recently, like, towards, like, my ranked level. And I'm still making some some problems in my games, like where I'm just like being in a bad position and stuff, and it's really what's costing me sometimes, especially in these games where I have to carry, which is a lot of them, until today of course, as I streamed, which is the 10th. But yeah, that is basically it. That's all I want to say. If you guys like these type of videos or want me to do more on my mistakes, I will gladly do that as well, and I'll probably do it like when I have a lot more energy too, because right now I'm doing it while it's late before I go to bed. But yeah, I think it's a different idea. I think you guys can learn a lot from it. And, you know, if you want to up your game and know where Masters player goes wrong and what he can teach you, then, you know, follow my advice, you know, maybe take my perspectives as well. Which is just to threat assess. Like, if we're going to conclude the video now, I would say threat assessment is a very important, you know, fundamental, like, I guess, how do I categorize this? It's more or less just something you need to think about. It's like a thought process within the game. Let's just say thought processes. So it's that, and it's just the fact on what do we have to do to win? How do we nullify the enemy from using their strengths? If we position badly, you know, we lose. If we get into the right way, like, you know, if we play correctly, we keep our summoners up, we prepare for the inevitable, then, you know, we're fine. But that's basically it, all, like, with all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more things like this, just let me know in the comments, because I think you can learn something from this. And I'll definitely try and set these up better as well. It was just like a specific like thing that came to my head too, where I positioned poorly. Poppy ult kept knocking me away most of the game too because of my bad positioning. And I think that's just really all I wanted to kind of give a heads up on too, when they have like a comp like this as well. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, you know, do all that. Make sure to comment as well for the algorithm. You can comment anything. Like, just let me know what you liked, disliked. If there's anything you have troubles with, maybe I could replicate it. Well, not actually, but like replicate it in a way where I find it in my own gameplay and maybe present it with you, like a mistake or something I do well. And yeah, we'll just leave it as that. So with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out and have a good one.